Hello, everybody. It's time for our first AI War 2 patch update of the new year, and it's going to be a doozy. We have now gotten through the post launch polish era, and this is 1.3 entitled The Grand New AI. So they're beginning to push now towards the 2.0, which is when multiplayer comes in and the new DLC and all of that fun stuff. Be a while before that arrives, I presume. But here we are. So this patch has almost 15,000 words in the patch notes. Link to that's in the description if you want to see it all. That's 29 pages of a Word document. Somebody went to the trouble of calculating on Discord. So, yeah. I'm not going to be doing all of that, obviously, but we will hit the high points. So, there's a bunch of performance improvements that have been accomplished in various ways. Really should be pretty dramatic for a lot of save games, including the sort of complicated stuff that we're doing here. So that should be excellent. We'll be able to put that through an acid test as we get further into Faction Frenzy. But if we unpause here, the speed boosts are now at 1.5 times, 2 times speed, and it shows the actual percentage compared to normal speed there. But they stop at 5 times, and you can't go any higher than 5 times speed. Previously, it was 10 times. So this is something that probably some people are not going to be super happy with, I would imagine. But the reason for that is the AI was getting dumber on higher speeds because of the way the simulation was working. And they've also closed a lot of those loopholes, but in order to do that and keep it going at a viable rate, they had to cap the speed. So that's a thing. And there's also a new option called parallel faction processing. Let's see if I can find. I think it's under. Yeah. Okay. So you can read the tooltip if you would like, but basically this just lets the game be smarter at the higher speeds. And so there shouldn't be nearly as much of a performance drop off from the AI. That's been abused to the degree that somebody had maxed out the speed and beat 4 simultaneous AIs on difficulty 10. They posted about that on the Steam forums. I very much doubt they'll be able to do that again. It's one of the main ways that a lot of people had beaten difficulty 10 is by abusing the speed hack there, which is no longer possible. Now we've got a whole bunch of changes to AI defenses. The way the planets are generated, the mark levels of the planets, the distribution of those throughout the galaxy, how they choose guard posts. The AI does reinforcements much better, so neutering planets is much more important. So if you create a new game on the 1.3 patch, expect some changes that are generally expected to be positive in that area. There's also some changes to the tooltips. If we take a look, let's see. Take a look at this fleet here, for example. Now, if you look at the bottom, Controller Alt C medium or both see full detail. There was just the basic and expanded version before. Now there's 3. So this is like the basic one for the fleet. Get a little bit more information if you hold one of the buttons and then hold the other, and you get the full deal. And you can also choose whether or not what they default to in the options as well. So you can default to medium instead of the brief version if you like that better. But there were some people who were really wanting that adjusted, and so now you've got more options to mess around with there. On the tech menu, you now get a rough estimation of the strength that you will boost if you invest in something. And you can see the ships here and the defenses there. If I were to upgrade in disruptive, it would improve my pike turrets and my plasma turrets, and they would get the majority of the benefit. Ship, not so much, whereas if I improved ambush, it wouldn't improve my defenses at all, but because I don't have any defenses in that category, but the strength cost or ability of my ships would improve dramatically. And then there's also something known as fire teams logic. And this is something that was developed for the Scourge in the upcoming expansion. But they decided to port it to some of the factions here. And it's being described as the best strategic mechanism that the game has had for the AI in either Classic or in the sequel here. Basically, what it does is it allows the factions to group their forces and better coordinate simultaneous strikes on different locations things like that. So instead of, massing into one group and going off, they have a much smarter strategic level, not just tactically when they hit a planet splitting up, but they're much smarter on the higher level strategic plane. Right now, Marauders and Hunters, I believe, are the only things that have access to it, but that's going to happen with other factions, presumably down the road, at least, of course, with the upcoming Scourge. Okay, so there's a bunch of stuff we need to go out to the setup screen for. And if we look at the custom starts, they've added an extreme. No, that's not what I want. I want the quick starts. They've added an extreme element. Okay, and these are really high level ones. They're either really difficult 9 or they're 10. And this is for people who want to sort of put in a bug report for beating the game on difficulty 10. They're sort of controlled scenarios so that it's known that you didn't tweak a bunch of different things with the game, and also just sort of having quick starts for that sort of purpose. And this one, like for example, dual royal AI is probably the toughest AI type to hit, and then putting them both at difficulty 10. At the bottom, do I need to mention winning this is a bug? No, you don't. We all know that. So yeah, obviously for the experts in the game, you probably already know these are here, but if you haven't found the current stuff difficult enough, well, there you go. And we got some other settings that I want to look at. So over here in the balance, ship attack ranges reduced across the board except for your infinite range stuff like snipers by about 20%. And that was to allow more strategic placing of turrets and whatnot, and relieve a bit of an issue with everything fighting everything being one big brouhaha. So that's a significant tweak to the combat. In capturables, we've got the remove unlock variants. Some people felt it was too much RNG that you get different numbers of ships and turrets when you grab one of the capturables. So with this on, you won't get any really good ones, but you won't get any really bad ones. They'll all be stuck at the average. So some people like that, some people don't. That's an option there. It's definitely not something I'll be playing with because I think that sort of random feel is important to the game. But it is an option for people who do want it. One other issue they were having is with the linked rings, planet or galaxy type rather. It was possible for some of the planets to create a wormhole link to themselves. So they added another bit into the algorithm. When it creates the galaxy, it'll go through and remove and fix all of those before the galaxy is finalized. And so that should not be a problem anymore. And then we also have adaptive AI, which if you've been watching the Faction Frenzy, you're aware of this. But if we click on here, in addition to the random, we've got adaptive easier, adaptive moderate, adaptive hard, adaptive any, and then adaptive brutal. And this will cause the AI to switch during the game. It'll switch from one AI type to another. Not super often. I think it's every hour or so that it'll just, change. And so what that can end up doing, it can create increased difficulty because it could be like a turtle AI building a bunch of defenses. Then it could be a tsunami AI doing a bunch of attacks. And, so the combination of those things can make it more difficult to deal with. And you also can't just pigeonhole the AI you're going up against into that one box. It could be doing multiple different things. So that's the basic highlights here for Grand New AI. And of course, as they proceed forward, we will be looking at more information as it develops. Till then, thanks for watching, everybody. See you soon.